Hello everyone, I'm Nightmare Nemo, and welcome to my first horror movie review. This time we're going to review a movie that's part of a series that I'm very familiar with, and is one that is near and dear to my heart, which sounds pretty silly, knowing that it is Ghoulies. Yes, Ghoulies, they'll get you in the end. And I actually have statue of one of the ghoulies there, so that's the one that comes out in the poster. And yes, there is a scene in the trailer and in the actual movie where a ghoulie pops out of the toilet, which was like this stroke of genius for the marketing campaign for the movie. But the whole tagline, the ghoulies will get you in the end, that meaning that the ghoulies are gonna grab you while you are on the toilet. That actually doesn't happen until the second movie. So it's just kind of an interesting bit of trivia there. It first starts out and this satanic ritual being going on. It's obviously set like in the past. They're all like wearing white robes, and it's just all like feel like it's set like in like a medieval time kind of. Don't really get too much background on that because the scene is very short. And so there's this ritual going on. There's going to be a sacrifice to Satan, of course, because that's how it goes. And Malcolm is the warlock, the head honcho of this cult, and he's going to sacrifice a baby. The baby, funnily enough, is revealed to be his own son. His wife is among the followers, and she pulls off her hood and just confronts him.
Jibi, supplet, donem, honorem.
No! You promised! You promised not a child!
Oh, he is the one.
You can't hurt him now, you bastard!
And it's really crazy. This guy really gives no shits. He's like, I'm willing to sacrifice anything for Satan, for power, and I'll sacrifice my own kid. And so his wife puts this medallion around the baby's neck, and so when he tries to stab it, it shocks him with this magical electricity. And so he's like, oh, okay, no, that's not going to work. So he gets one of his followers, Wolfgang, which you won't know his name till later, but Wolfgang, he takes the kid out, and actually he takes the kid a bit too far off and just kind of runs off with the kid, supposedly, whatever.
Don't be afraid, little one. You'll be safe.
And so back there, he's like, okay, well, I don't have my own son to sacrifice, so I'm going to sacrifice my own wife, because she's being surly to me and messing up my whole plans. So he sacrifices his wife by not stabbing her, because that would be simple. That would be too easy. So he uses his magical devil powers and makes it so that her chest, her heart, is popping out of her chest like the chest bursters in Alien. It doesn't show the heart popping out, but there is a funny scene with the Ghoulies where it's just it kind of shields its eyes like it's a child. It's like oh god, no. I've seen plenty of horrible things going on tonight, but a heart popping out of a woman's chest, that's where draw the line. So, back in the present, Jonathan, Malcolm's son, is all grown up. Him and his girlfriend, Rebecca, have inherited Malcolm's house with all of his devil worship clothes and books and stuff. And naturally, like father, like son, Jonathan looks at all the old stuff that his dad had and started looking at the old spell book, and then starts getting into it, and it subtly shows that even beyond the grave, because Malcolm is buried on the grounds of the mansion, and from beyond the grave, he's like, he's controlling, he's putting the influence on his son, Jonathan. And so Jonathan gets into performing this ritual to summon the Ghoulies. And so they have a party to just kind of basically for excuse for Jonathan to hold a ritual, and so he can have people there as a witness. And so there's a lot of funny stuff in the party, which for the rest of the movies in the Ghoulies series, they have this pretty good blend of humor along with the horror, because, you know, obviously, like the Ghoulies, you look at them, they're pretty goofy looking. It's still kind of creepy, but, you know, the Ghoulies popping in a toilet, you know, obviously you're not supposed to be taking this seriously. So, but in this movie, there's the only parts that are played up for laughs where the humor lies is in the parties. And there's two parties. So in the beginning, he invites his friends over, and they're all pretty stereotypical. I will point out one of my favorite of the friends is like this Elvis looking guy. He's like real cocky, and just he tries to be all smooth and stuff.
So, wanna dance later?
Think you can handle it?
Try me.
I might.
Maybe we could...
And he's got a one-track mind. He only wants to have sex with the ladies and stuff. And just every scene he's in is like his performance is just so over the top, and just it's just awesome. I just love it.
Wait. Hey, Rebecca, can you lead me to the nearest beer?
In the refrigerator?
Thanks. So, who's your beautiful friend?
I'm Donna.
They call me Dick, but you can call me Dick.
Then there's the two stoners who are like the comedy relief for the movie. That they don't really show up that often, and they're kind of funny in the first party, but eventually their charm kind of wears off on you, and it's just, you know, basically everyone's set up to die. And so a lot of interesting and weird scenes that really don't go anywhere. In particular, in the party, the stoners go off into this room.
Dude, I don't think she's in here. Well, I don't think so either. Hey, let's check out the closet. Mike. Mike.
What?
Wasn't he over there?
I don't think she's here.
So the scene doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the Ghoulies haven't really all formed. Like, only one of them has shown up at this particular time, but it's not shown that the Ghoulie is causing the clown to pop up. It doesn't make any... It's just kind of like out of nowhere. Like, there's no magic going on. Like, it's just a scene that just... There's no point to it. Like, there's no explanation why the clown was able to disappear and reappear into the closet. So in this movie, I'm going to be harping on mainly one thing, and that a lot of these scenes, when you really think about it, don't make a whole lot of sense in a logical sense. There's not enough explanation for why these events are transpiring, like the clown scene in the closet. And Robin is one of the friends that is taking part in the ritual. She's in the circle, and there's some funny stuff, like some of the stoners are kind of joking around and stuff, and then she's for like no reason just screams out,
Species mentem meum. Shut up, goddammit!
I'm sorry.
like I don't know if she was intending this to be like a joke, like she's just messing around. And so we also get another narration by Wolfgang. Basically, we're gonna get into it. The main problem of this movie, other than it's, you know, it's kind of all over the place and it's this big mess of a movie plot wise, the biggest problem is Wolfgang. Wolfgang is the caretaker on the grounds. He's basically the only family that Jonathan has known because his parents are dead, obviously. So he's been taking care of him, and the only times we've seen him is at the very beginning, and he doesn't say a word. Like, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be like mute or it's just being creepy for whatever reason. But we know he can talk because he's had these narration bits, and we saw him talk in the very beginning of the movie. So he can talk. He's not mute. So I don't know why he's putting on this act. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But Wolfgang states multiple times that he is unable to interfere, much like the Watcher in Marvel Comics. He can't interfere. He can't get involved. He just kind of stand back idly while these events transpire. And it's like, and it doesn't make any sense when we get to the end of the movie. Why can't he just come out and tell Jonathan about his parents, what really happened with Malcolm, why his dad is a douche, and to not get involved with his dad's witchcraft and all that stuff, and to, you know, do the right thing. So it doesn't make any sense why he doesn't do that. Although, if he did, the movie would be over pretty quickly. We wouldn't have a movie. So I guess if they wanted that to work, they really should have not had him in the movie until maybe like later or something, and not mentioned that he's been there the whole entire time and he could have done something, because it just messes with everything. So basically, Jonathan is getting into power, and we know this because there's a scene where he makes it rain indoors. And this is a funny scene because two of the Ghoulies are watching. One of them is like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And then there's the other one that is not really impressed, like, no, I don't like it.
Thank you, Great Father, Russell, Astra, for having appeared and for having fulfilled my request. Thou mayest depart in peace.
And at this point, there's really no cut villain until later on, and we think like Jonathan's kind of the bad guy, but he's supposed to be like the main protagonist, and then his girlfriend Rebecca is like, you know, it doesn't take long for her to find out about Jonathan and getting into the witchcraft and stuff, and she doesn't want to be part of it, particularly because he's in the full warlock clothes and is like, nah, I'm not having none of this, and he refuses to eat her own food, like he's fasting or whatever, and he's just kind of going out of his mind. And then there's a scene where they're about to have sex, and we see that there's a ghoulie underneath the bed. There's like this big spell circle underneath the bed, and while they're about to have sex, Jonathan is chanting these words, these spell words, and she's like, "Nah, I'm not into this. I've had it." So she leaves, and then Jonathan summons these two little people, and they're basically his servants. And I actually really like these guys a lot. They add like another layer to the movie, because the Ghoulies are cool, they look awesome, but they don't really, they just kind of have these guttural sounds like and just kind of moves around. They don't say anything, and these are actually, you know, they add something to the movie. And basically you think there was going to be this whole, the plot was going to be Rebecca's going to try to stop him and stuff, but his magic's so powerful, he basically puts a spell on her, so she's just obedient to him.
I don't want this. Oh, I love you, Jonathan. But I'm leaving. It's over.
Becky, I love you.
I'm so sorry, Jonathan. Please forgive me.
And so that limits the whole thing. She kind of takes her role down quite a bit, and it's kind of disappointing. So he's got all this power, and his little helpers, Grizzle and Griddlegut, or something like that, basically say, you can perform like this other ritual, and then you'll gain great knowledge, great power, and that's what he wants. And his eyes are glowing green and stuff. So he has a second party, so invites everyone over, and it starts out that they have like this big banquet, this, you know, big dinner party. Everyone's wearing sunglasses, which really bothered me, because like I'm thinking like he is wearing sunglasses because his eyes are green, and maybe that's part of the reason, or because the Ghoulies start showing up, and so maybe wearing the sunglasses so that they can't see the Ghoulies. But actually, because it doesn't make any sense, I actually did some research and found out that originally this was planned to be a 3D movie. So whenever they have their sunglasses on, it was going to be all in 3D, so that was the connection. But for whatever reason, they decided, nah, I'm not doing that, so they just kind of left it, and that's why there's a lot of scenes where Jonathan has sunglasses. What bothers me is he's shown that he has control of his power. If he needed the sunglasses to like hide his green eyes, he could have just used his power to turn off the green eyes. Like, he has the power to do that, and if he doesn't, that's stupid. Because there's scenes where it shows where his eyes are looking normal, so there's no reason why. So that's my spiel on that. And so the whole ritual goes off without a kick, because he's able to put a spell on everyone, and then so they don't interrupt him or they yell for like they'll scream for like no reason. And so everything goes fine, and the whole ritual was to resurrect his dad, Malcolm, who's, you know, conveniently buried on the grounds. So he comes back to life, and he's basically making a power play, saying like, the Ghoulies are under my power now, the little people are under my power now, and he makes his big entrance, right? And nobody hears it. Nobody reacts to this. It's just like, what was the point? I mean, it looks cool. It's yeah, so once again, it doesn't make any sense. And so the Elvis guy, after having sex with Robin, is like, I'm going downstairs to get some water. So he goes downstairs, and then Malcolm has changed himself to look like this blonde and shapely lady, and and then the Elvis is just like, okay, is try to see what's going on, if I can get some action out of this lady. And so it's so bizarre because we know it's Malcolm, right? And so he kisses Elvis deeply, and then
Who are you?
I'm not quite sure, because he was a married man, and so I assume he was heterosexual, but maybe part of him is swinging to the other side. I don't know. Or maybe he just wanted to kiss him for like no reason. I don't know. So anyways, we get to the very end of the movie. There's this big showdown where Jonathan confronts his dad, and there's really good dialogue because Malcolm is just, he's so cheesy and over the top. I just really like his performance. Just really takes it away. And before that, he puts the medallion that's supposed to protect Rebecca from like all evil, and after doing so, immediately puts her back to normal. She's her own self without the spell on her. So she's like, I don't know what's going on, and then she walks away from Jonathan, and she gets scared by some of the Ghoulies, and is like, and then the medallion starts glowing, and I guess it burns her or whatever, and so she takes it off, is scared by the Ghoulies, and then trips and falls downstairs and dies. So she's dead. So now Malcolm has Rebecca's body, and he's basically like, they have like this back and forth, like basically they're kind of trying to one up each other, and Malcolm is obviously more powerful, and then he brings Rebecca back to life and tries to kind of like lure Jonathan to, like let down his defenses, but it doesn't work because the Grizzle and Grottle Gut or whatever, they say like, no, it's a trap, obviously. And so he's like throws her out of the way, and then like, Malcolm is doing this force choke on him, and things are looking pretty grim until Wolfgang shows up out of nowhere. He's got like his wizard robes on, and he finally decides to intervene. And so Malcolm and Wolfgang have this epic wizard battle. Not really all that epic. It's pretty lame actually. And so they both destroy each other, and then somehow some spell, like since they're both gone and Malcolm's gone or whatever, all of Jonathan's friends who are have been ripped apart by the Ghoulies are back to normal. For some reason, like their wounds are all gone. It's like, okay, just it. If you can tell, it's pretty obvious, but this ending is pretty rushed. There's like, okay, fine, you know, the evil's done. Just hurry up and end the movie. We're tired of working on it. Whatever. We don't have time for this. And so the movie ends like they all is like, okay, let's get up in the car and just leave. And then they leave. They leave the little people behind, and they're just like, but I don't know what to do now. And that's basically it. That's basically Ghoulies. And then they tease like, because Rebecca's like, is it really over? And then you see that the Ghoulies are in the car with them. And they're like, grr.
Would somebody mind telling me what the hell is going on?
It's a long story, Mike. But it's over now.
Is it, Jonathan? Is it really?
Yeah, really.
That's Ghoulies. There's a couple of other things I wanted to point out. There's a really great scene, probably like the best scene in the movie, where it's another callback to the clown in that room, but this time there's actually a ghoulie in it, and it goes after Robin, and I'm just showing it to you guys. It's just awesome. And that's Ghoulies. Like I say, a lot of scenes that really don't go anywhere. There's not a lot of explanation why things are happening. It just it feels really half baked. Like it really feels like this movie was written by a couple different people, or there was some massive rewrites along the production of the movie. So a lot of things don't really make a lot of sense. Like I say, the biggest problem is Wolfgang what they should have done is taken all the narration out of him saying like, I could have prevented things, taken him out of that beginning scene where he's shown to Rebecca as the caretaker, because he doesn't show up at all throughout the rest of the movie, only in the narration bits and at the very end of the movie. So you really could have just taken that scene, or reworked that scene, and just taken him out, take narration out, and so just kind of showed that he knows what's going on, and maybe like he's spying on them or whatever, and so just something to explain why he doesn't just intervene and tell Jonathan about what's really going on, the whole history of his dad and his mom and stuff, and just it would make more sense, because having him say I can't intervene just really doesn't make any sense.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Would I recommend this movie? I would definitely recommend this if you are into trashy B movies, into movies that are so bad so good, that kind of stuff, because for all its faults with the plot and I guess the performance is kind of not so great, but the Ghoulies look really great. The effects on them are pretty awesome. Practical effects in general are really good. It's not a bad looking film at all as far as the production of the film. It's just the plot's the really bad problem. So if you can just kind of like turn off your brain and just enjoy this for what it is, it's a lot of fun. It's anything but boring, because that's the one thing I really hate in horror movies. If it's just boring, it's just there's nothing going on, there's nothing interesting. This movie is always entertaining. The story, the movie moves along pretty quickly. There's not a whole lot of scenes where there's a lot of build up, especially with the Ghoulies. When from the get go we see the Ghoulies, and so it's not one of those movies where the main attraction, the killer, is build up and then you don't see him until like very late in the movie. No, you see the Ghoulies plenty of times. There's plenty of times where they're killing people and stuff, and so if you're in it for the Ghoulies, even though you know they aren't the real main attraction, like it's really all about Jonathan and Malcolm and that kind of stuff. And the Ghoulies are just really there as henchmen, minions, really. And so I would definitely recommend this. It's a lot of fun. It has its problems, but it's definitely worth your time. So definitely check out Ghoulies. And thank you guys so much for watching and giving it a chance on this new series. And I'm going to be keeping this maybe a little bit less frequently, because these take a lot of time. I have to edit footage and I have to watch the movie a couple times, and it takes a lot more energy than to do a Let's Play or do a Goosebumps review. So I'm definitely going to return and review the other Ghoulies movies, but at a later date. I just kind of want to move on and then cover other stuff. So look forward to that. And thank you once again, and I'll see you guys next time.